Yes, Mataji.
Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Naram Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat. Nashtaprayasu Abhatresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. Reading from today from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 1. Chapter 4 is Transcendental Knowledge, and we will cover the first verse today. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivasate Yogam Proktavan Aham Abhyayam Vivaswana Manave Praha Manurikha Ke Abhavit. Sri Bhagavana Uvacha Imam Vivasate Yogam Proktavan Aham Abhyayam Vivaswana Manave Praha Manurikha Ke Abhavit. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Imam, this, Vivaswate, unto the Sun God. Yogam, the science of one's relationship. Yogam, the science of one's relationship to the Supreme. Proktavam, instructed. Aham, I. Abhyayam, the imperishable. Vivaswan, Vivaswan, the Sun God's name. Manave, unto the father of mankind, of the name of Vivaswata. Praha, told. Manuhu, the father of mankind. Ikvakve, unto King Ikvaku, said. Abravit said. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. The personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna said, I instructed this imperishable science of yoga to Sun God, Vivaswan, and Vivaswan instructed it to Manu, the father of mankind, and Manu in turn instructed it to Ikvaku. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Herein we find the history of the Bhagavad Gita traced from a remote time when it was delivered to the royal order of all planets, beginning from the sun planet. The kings of all planets are specially meant for the protection of the inhabitants, and therefore the royal order should understand the science of Bhagavad Gita in order to be able to rule the citizens and protect them from material bondage to lust. Human life is meant for cultivation of spiritual knowledge in eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the executive heads of all states and all planets are obliged to impart this lesson to the citizen by education, culture, and devotion. In other words, the executive heads of all states are intended to spread the science of Krishna consciousness so that the people may take advantage of this great science and pursue a successful path, utilizing the opportunity of the human form of life. In this millennium, the sun god is known as Vivaswan, the king of the sun, which is the origin of all planets within the solar system. In the Brahma Samhita 5.52, it is stated, Yacha Kyuresha Savita Sakala Grahanam Raja Samasta Sura Murtir Asisa Tejaha Yasya Geya Brahmati Sambrata Kala Chakro Govindam Adipurusam Tamahang Bhajami. Let me worship, Lord Brahma said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, Krishna, who is the original person and under whose order the sun, which is the king of all planets, is assuming immense power and heat. The sun represents the eye of the Lord and traverses its orbit in obedience to his order. The sun is the king of the planets, and the sun god, at present of the name Vivaswan, rules the sun planet, which is controlling all other planets by supplying heat and light. He is rotating under the order of Krishna, and Lord Krishna originally made Vivaswan his first disciple to understand the science of Bhagavad Gita. The Gita is not therefore a speculative treatise for the insignificant mundane scholar, but it is a standard book of knowledge coming down from the time immemorial. In Mahabharata Shanti Parvat 348.51 to 52, we can trace out the history of the Gita as follows. त्रेता युगदौ च ततो बिभस्वान् मानवे तदौ मनुश्च लोकवृत्ति अर्थम सुतये इक्ष्वाक्वे ददौ इक्ष्वाकुना च कहितो व्यापय लोकान् अवस्थितः. In the beginning of the millennium, known as Treta Yuga, the science of the relationship with the Supreme was delivered by Bhivaswan to Manu. Manu, being the father of mankind, gave it to his son Maharaj Ikshvaku, the king of this earthly planet and forefather of the Raghu dynasty, in which Lord Ramachandra appeared. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita existed in human society from the time of Maharaj Ikshvaku. At the present moment, we have just passed through 5,000 years of the Kali Yuga, which lasts 432,000 years. Before this, there was Dwapara Yuga, 800,000 years, and before that, there was Treta Yuga. This is 120 billion years. Thus, some 2 billion and 5,000 years ago, Manu spoke Bhagavad Gita to his disciple and son Maharaj Ikshvaku, the king of this planet Earth. The age of current Manu is calculated to last some 305 billion 300,000 years, of which 120 billion 400,000 years have passed. Accepting that before the birth of Manu, the Gita was spoken by the Lord to his disciple, the sun god Vibhaswan, a rough estimate is that the Gita was spoken at least 120 billion 400,000 years ago, and in human society it has been extant for 2 million years. It was re-spoken by the Lord again to Arjuna about 5,000 years ago. That is the rough estimate of the history of Gita. According to the Gita itself, and according to the version of the speaker, Lord Sri Krishna, it was spoken to the sun god Vibhaswan because he is also a Kshatriya and is the father of all Kshatriyas who are all descendants of the sun god, or the Surya Vamsa Kshatriyas. Because Bhagavad Gita is as good as the Vedas, being spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This Bhagavad Gita is as good as the Vedas, being spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This knowledge is Apaurusheya, superhuman. Since the Vedic instructions are accepted as they are without the human interpretation, the Gita must therefore be accepted without any mundane interpretation. The mundane wranglers may speculate on the Gita in their own ways, but this is not Bhagavad Gita as it is. Therefore, Bhagavad Gita has to be accepted as it is from the disciplic succession. And it is described herein that the Lord spoke to the sun god. The sun god spoke to his son Manu, and Manu spoke to his son Ikshvaku. ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मृतं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददन्ति स पदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहित कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादं सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितं च. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपीश गोपिकांत राधाकांत नमस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्राय पुत्राभ्यां सुगनाथाय ते नमः. Hare Krishna devotees. Welcome to today's Bhagavad Gita class. Last week we covered chapter 3, the Karma Yoga, and today we are going to start with the Jnana Yoga, the Transcendental Knowledge. I am not qualified on this subject matter, but however, with all of your mercy, I will try to do this little service just to purify myself. So here, if we see here, Prabhupada here mentioned, like 3 things. Like 5 Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Bhagavad Gita was spoken so that the kings or the Kshatriya kings who will be able to understand the real essence of the real essence of the humanity, and what is exactly the services, and how they are, like how their countrymen will be get protected from the material bondage to the lost. And then while cultivating this duty, they should also understand what is the relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Basically, to understand what is the knowledge and then this knowledge in relationship with the Supreme Person Godhead. And Prabhupada also here mentions here that Bhagavad Gita, this standard is a kind of standard book of knowledge, and which is coming from time immemorial. It is not like that Bhagavad Gita is spoken, like we are reading from Srila Prabhupada book Bhagavad Gita as it is, or Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Krishna, but Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, but 5,000 years ago. But in fact, Krishna has told Bhagavad Gita much before that. So Prabhupada is mentioned here that Bhagavad Gita is always eternal. It's not like it's time bound. It is always, it was there. Like Krishna was always there. Similarly, Bhagavad Gita also was always there. Now here the subject matter is name is Jnana Jagat, transcendental knowledge. So why it is transcendental knowledge? It could be any kind of knowledge. But because it is Prabhupada is mentioned here as transcendental knowledge, because this knowledge has directly come from Krishna. Krishna himself is speaking Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna is himself is telling about the Jnana knowledge. So this definitely, this is definitely transcending to all kind of other knowledges. So that's why it is transcendental knowledge. Now here we need to understand here, Prabhupada is making sure that we should understand here what is knowledge, and from whom we should accept this knowledge, and how to cultivate this knowledge. Now, without any knowledge, our actions are kind of empty. There are no values. If we don't know that what we are doing and why we are doing, then this makes no sense to us. Suppose in our house, we do some kind of rearrangement of the house, and somebody asks us, so you hold this and let's go to that side. Let's just move. Somebody will tell you like that. You are kind of confused over there. Suppose somebody asks you, hold this table from this side and let's go. You will think that, yeah, where to go? Why to go? Why he is asking me to do this? But if somebody tells you, explains you, I'm planning to move this table so that there will be more sunlight over there, and let's go to the north corner of the house. If you know the action in advance, if you have the knowledge in advance, then you are not confused. You do this work wholeheartedly. So knowledge helps us to give a right attitude to behind in each of our activity. Otherwise, we are just like a machine or a parrot. So Krishna is helping us here to at first understand what is knowledge and where it is coming from. Now Krishna here is also mentioned here how to do services. What is the process of devotional service? So we can make up in our own, as per our mental speculation, this has to be done like this, and either this is my way, or I can think something, I can create something. But it is not like that. Any kind of service, it has to be authorized by Krishna. Generally, people are very, very independent. They want to create something new on their own. But the intelligent devotee, who are intelligent devotee, they know that actual independence doesn't exist in reality. We are all affected by the three modes of the material nature. And along with the three modes of material nature also, we have the 6 material whips also we have. Now, by the 3 modes of material nature, if we see, now it is time for winter, and now from last 1 year, this coronavirus is going on. So we are all affected by this. So now some of us are going to go for a vaccine, and some of us are getting capturing fever, and this is kind of one kind of material nature. And sometimes if it is too winter, like last time a few months back, we saw so much snow was all around, so we were feeling very, very cold. Then in summer, sometimes we're feeling very, very hot. So like this, we are affected by this material nature. So then there are 6 whips are there, which is hunger, then thirst, then lamentation, then illusion, old age, and death. So this our material nature always pushes us into all these 6 entities one by one. And every time we'll be having this kind of things. So in this material nature, we have to survive. So if then sometimes somebody will think that, yeah, to survive here, I don't have to eat. But if we don't have to eat, then how are you going to do our work? So we are forced to do our activities. So many things are there, and we are affected by this modes of the material nature. Then with the modes of the material nature also, there are the urge to eat, then urge to sleep, then there are urge to sex, and then there is also how to defend. So ahara nidra bhaya maithunam cha. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned over there. So eating, sleeping, defending, and mating, these are the 4 principles which are common. So, but how to eat, how to sleep, how to defend, and how to mate, all these things are this like there is a proper way to do it. Just like that, you cannot You cannot create your own way. So whatever our whatever is verified through the shastra, we have to follow it. So whatever is verified, in general, if we see that everything has a rule book. So basically, as to maintain a decent student life, we all educate our kids that you get up early and you sleep on time, you eat on time, eat healthy food. So all these things are rules are there. So everything is already predefined. So the rule book is already set for everything, so we have to follow it. Now, to cultivate this kind of knowledge, so there are to cultivate this kind of knowledge, uh, we have to read scripture. The scripture reveals us how to do it. It is not this way or not that way, or not by any kind of not by any kind of your natural expression. So to understand this process, we need to have educate ourselves, and there should be proper culture to it. So now, if we see that to educate ourselves, we can go to any school or college. But in this modern age, people has no faith who no faith in the authority. Like the school colleges with our kids go, like everywhere you do, they want any action of any kind of proof how to do it, and what is behind it. There is always a challenge. So there is no faith over there. No faith is involved over there. So there is no belief and there is no faith. So often Prabhupada mentions that these universities are kinds of slaughterhouse of the manhood. So why Prabhupada is saying it? Because we don't believe in anything. We don't believe. Generally, if we tell something, we try to challenge it. We try not to accept it. So basically, we cannot challenge every basic principles. If we see, there is a mathematical axioms are there. 1 + 1 = 2. Do we challenge it? No, we don't challenge it. There are mathematical theorems are there, Pythagoras theorem, or so many theorems are there. We might have studied. Have we ever challenged it? No, we have accepted it. Similarly, the spiritual knowledge also we have to accept it. So that much faith is also necessary. So if we are having some faith in these mathematical axioms, similarly we should have little bit faith on these scriptures also. Now, often Prabhupada mentions a sweet example on have you seen Japan? So one earlier in days, how to just to understand how this knowledge is more than the sensory perception, he always asks the question, have you seen Japan? So if somebody will say, no, I have not seen Japan. Oh, you have not seen Japan, but definitely we can find about it. So what we can find about Japan, like we understand by books we are reading that in Japan we have earthquake. In Japan, kimonos are there. That Sony, whatever, all these technologies are there. That in Japan, and the paper houses are there. So when there is earthquake, people run out here and there. Those things we read, and there are so many beautiful fans the ladies hold. So all those things about Japan we know. Then also we know that there's so much technically advanced. If there is an electrical any instrument is in their garbage can, if you lift it after 1 or 2 years also, that will also work. So knowing so many things, we think that we are expert on about Japan. But then again the question comes, how do you know about Japan? Japan, or does Japan really exist? Because you have not seen Japan in your own eyes. So how you understand that Japan exists? So basically, if we think and challenge like that, then this is a kind of a childish attitude. This is a kind of a childish knowledge. Because knowledge always comes from a superior authority who is beyond the sensory perception. In material sense, whatever we cannot be verified by our senses, we cannot accept it. In our universities and colleges, if we go, so many things are there, we don't accept it. We need a challenge. We challenge it. So in that way, we see that faith is very, very important, and we need a bigger authority from whom we can understand it. So who can be the bigger authority or superior authority other than Supreme Personality of Godhead? Now in Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, Dharmani Sakyat Bhagavan Pranitam. The path of religion is directly enunciated by the Lord. Now Sri Krishna himself has told about the process, about the manual of human life, which is nothing other than the Bhagavad Gita, how a person should behave, what is the prescribed duty, how his relationship with the Lord, everything he has mentioned. So initially, if you see the picture over here, initially Lord Krishna spoke to Bibhaswan, who is sun god. That was the first time. Then after that, by the Parampara system, Vibhuswan spoke it to Manu. Manu was the first human being from to whom Vibhuswan spoke. The real intent behind it is like Manu was a Kshatriya king, and Manu has to recreate all the progenies, and Manu has to rule in a proper way. So that's why any Kshatriya king should know what is the real method. So that's why Krishna spoke to Vibhuswan, and now Vibhuswan is speaking to Manu. Now then Manu spoke to Ikshvaku, King Ikshvaku. Then from King Ikshvaku, in the King Ikshvaku's dynasty, Lord Ramachandra was born. So then we see that how during Ramachandra's time, there was everywhere Ramarajya. There was peace. There was no everybody was staying very happily. There was no quarrel, no kind of duplicity. So everything was very, very peaceful. Now, if you compare to the current age now, if we see that if we see there are so many anarthas all around. Every day, if we open the newspaper, we see so many devastating news. This person killed so many innocent kids. There are so many things we hear. Sometimes we see there is a robbery. There is in the family, a family member is killing the infants, and what not. Every newspaper, if you open one day, the newspaper is filled with these kind of things. Why this is happening? Because our kingly persons who are ruling us, they do not understand Bhagavad Gita. They do not understand the real essence. They do not understand who they are. They don't have the concept of the person is, who the ruler is, and what is his relationship, and what he is supposed to do. He doesn't know that. That's why we're having so many disturbances in our society. In earlier days, the kings were kind of representative of Lord, but these days we cannot say that the rulers, they are representative of the Lord. Everything is kind of so much polluted and so much contaminated. So now, if we now coming back to before 5,000 years ago, now Lord Shri Krishna has told Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So now we are covering this Bhagavad Gita as it is, and we have covered 3 chapters. Now we are at the 4th chapter. Okay. Now, if we see, Prabhupada here has mentioned about the time history of Bhagavad Gita. So, like he has mentioned in the Mahabharata Santi Purva, and he has calculated that Bhagavad Gita was initially spoken by 120 billion and 400,000 years ago. So, Bhagavad Gita was always there. It is always eternal, and it is spoken again and again. So, basically, wherever Krishna appears, Arjuna also appears, but Krishna remembers Bhagavad Gita, but as we all forget about it. So now there is a beautiful example of Maharaj Parikshit and Srimad Bhagavatam. So Maharaj Parikshit, he was, he was grandson of Arjuna, and when he was going on Mrugaya, and he came across Samikrusi. He was going through the forest, and he became very thirsty. So he came across this ashram of Samikrusi. Samikrusi was in deep meditation, so there was no reception from Samikrusi. Then he thought he got somehow by the effect of mode of passion, Maharaj Parikshit got little agitated, and he thought there was a deadly snake nearby. He picked it up and he covered it on Samikrusi. Now Sringi, then after some time, Samikrusi's son Sringi came, and looking at this kind of behavior, he was very upset, and he caused Maharaj Parikshit that Maharaj Parikshit is going to die within 7 days. So by hearing this, since Maharaj Parikshit was a saintly king and he understood the essence of Bhagavad Gita also, so he realized that, yeah, I did commit mistake and I deserve this kind of punishment. He did not counteract. He has all possible reason to counteract, but he did not counteract it. So he could understand this material world is just illusory energy of Lord, and all the lessons are here temporary. So he started to prepare for his departure. Then while preparing for his departure, he decided what to do. Then Sukadev Goswami came, and Sukadev Goswami educated him on the real science, which is called Srimad Bhagavatam, which is about understanding Lord Krishna and the relationship with Lord Krishna. Now, if we see now here, this transcendental knowledge, if we see, they're very high in standard. Our Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita both are both describe about it, And mostly we describe about how to conduct devotional service. So basically devotional service are two ways. One is the Vaidhi Bhakti, that is the regulative way, and another is the Raganuga Bhakti, which is a spontaneous way. Now in regulative way, like we follow certain disciplines, like we were asked to get up early in the morning. Initially when we start our devotional service, we are asked to get up early in the morning, attend Mangala Aarti and do Kirtan and all those things, and eat standardized food. But slowly as you progress, your love for Krishna develops, and you start to think more and more about it, more and more about him, how to serve him more, what kind of fruit I should get in the summertime so that Krishna will get pleased, what kind of outfit I will give in summertime so that Krishna is not doesn't feel hot, and I should apply chandan on his body so that like he's feeling he doesn't feel so much hot. And in winter I will offer him a shawl made by me, or I will get some warm cloth and I will offer. So all these things, raganuga bhakti, all those things, and spontaneously it comes. So basically, if we follow the Vaidhi Bhakti, then automatically we'll come to the Raganuga Bhakti platform. So if we see our ISKCON, we have certain high standards we have. We follow the 4 regulative principles. Prabhupada has advised us to follow 4 regulative principles. What are the 4 regulative principles? No intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex. And we also have to chant certain amount of rounds. So Prabhupada has done some regulations for us that chant 16 rounds every day. So it's not like that we have to chant only 16 rounds, but it has a minimum of 16 rounds we have to chant every day. So this is the standard. This is high standard. If we think that sometimes when you start, this is a very big thing for all of us, chanting 16 rounds, how to do it? Early before night, while sleeping, we plan, this time morning, this time I'm going to chant 4 rounds, then afternoon I'm going to chant 4 rounds, then while driving I'll chant 4 rounds, then while sleeping I'll chant 4 rounds. At the end, I'm very happy that I have chanted 16 rounds. So then like it kind of, you think that you are following some regulative principles and you are doing it. But if you see that, is that enough? Is that all Krishna wants? So there is a beautiful cartoon here. This is initially when Prabhupada time it was there. Basically, the Mataji who is standing in the left, he is advising her husband, chant, chant, chant. And the Prabhu in the other side says, can't. So when Prabhupada saw this cartoon initially, he was laughing like anything. He was thinking, he was laughing, and he circulated this cartoon almost everywhere. So basically, this is is initially in sense, if you say in a literal sense, it is meant for the karmis. We go and approach to the karmis and you say, Prabhuji, please chant. Mataji, please chant 1 round. Then they give us so many excuses to us. No, I am busy, I'm this, that. I have to take my daughter to here. I have to take my son to here. And my office work is so much. And I have this many TV serials to watch. I have to do so many prajalpas with my family members. So many excuses we have. But then they say, no, I can't do it. But literally, if we see internally, this is basically meant for us. We think that we are chanting 16 rounds, but is that enough? We are chanting. Is that enough? Like 1 hour we are meditating on Krishna and we're chanting. Is that enough? If we see Haridas Thakur, he was chanting 3 lakhs. He was doing 3 lakhs of rounds, 3 lakhs of names every day. So basically, either you chant, there is a regulative way, you chant either 16 rounds and slowly come to the real standard. What is the real standard? Real standard is completely always you think about Krishna. That is the real standard. Basically, in Sikhastakam, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Kirtanya Sadahari. That is our real standard. 24 hours, ahar nisi, you should think, you should do the namasmaran of Sri Hari. So, but Krishna is always pleased, little bit service, whatever we do. But there is always more to it. Krishna is happy with our 1 round chanting or 16 round chanting, or like entire whole if our life is spent on chanting, Krishna is always happy with that. But we should always try to make more attempt so that we can come to the right and perfect platform. So in that way, if you see that our Krishna conscious movement is based on our offering and then how to get the mercy. Now there is a beautiful story I was hearing from Kadam Kanan Maharaj. Like initial days, there was a wedding was happening, and the devotee who was getting wedded, her sister was there to assist at the wedding. So Prabhupada invited the sister, you come and help me in cooking. So the sister came to help in cooking. Initially, her plan was to attend the wedding. The Prabhupada gave her a pot to clean. Can you clean the pot? So the devotee sister, she went to clean the pot. While cleaning the pot, she got it cleaned and he got it to Prabhupada. And then Prabhupada looked at it and it was very good job. But there is little bit more dark here towards the inside and you can clean it more. So she went and she cleaned it again and he got it. Again, Prabhupada appreciated her. Then he told that there is a little bit dirt here, but you did a really good job, but it will be nice if you clean it little bit, sign it more with a metal scrubber. Then the devotee went and she scrubbed, with the metal scrubber, he cleaned it again. Then finally Prabhupada was happy. So Prabhupada, by this example, he was showing that how he was appreciative about whatever this devotee has done and how slowly he encouraged this devotee to become the perfect. So basically it's the same way. So if our offering is perfect, the reciprocation from Krishna also will be perfect. Krishna is always pleased whatever we do. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Patram phanam puspam toyam. Anything, little leaf, little flower, little water or little flower, whatever we give, Krishna is accepting it. Krishna is, like he has full opulence, he doesn't anything, but whatever we give him with pure love, Krishna is going to definitely accept. But whatever we give, always, that is, there is a method of perfection always. Always we should try to improve in our standard. So then if we improve in our standard, then one fine day we'll come to the perfect standard. Then our offering will be perfect and then we'll get the perfect mercy from Krishna. Now in summary here, Prabhupada is saying here that this process of devotional service has directly come from Krishna. So then definitely it has to be perfect. Then why it is perfect? Because it has a high standard and Krishna wants our perfection. He doesn't want anything less. He wants 100% from us. If we see here, Krishna has told that surrender to me. Krishna wants our 100% surrender and 100% perfection in all of our activities. And we cannot make it cheap. Sometimes if we, neither we can change it. Sometimes if we see that our Krishna conscious movement or our ISKCON movement is based on 4 regulative principles. Now Prabhupada has made, very, very clear about it. These 4 regulative principles we all have to follow. So sometimes we think, is this a real movement for the entire world? Yes, it is a real movement for the entire world. By following these 4 regulative principles, we can find an emergency exit from the material world. This material world is always, burning with the forest fire. Now, if we follow these principles, definitely one fine day we're going to exit. Now we cannot think here, yeah, let me follow 2. It's okay. No, it's not like that. We can follow only 2 principles, but slowly we should aspire to follow up to the 4 to all the principles. And there is no condemnation, there is no condemning activity over here. Everything is appreciative kind of thing. You cannot do something, it's okay, but slowly we should practice to do it. Just for for certain individuals, we cannot reduce our standards, and we should always aspire to come to the standard and gradually come up to the perfect standard. So then only whatever the ancient times, whatever the kings were during the Ramarajya, as we mentioned earlier, during Lord Rama's time, however there was peace and harmony all around, the same thing will come back, and we all will become a perfect individual. So with this, I just want to end here. Any comments or anything maybe we can discuss now. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mataji, for a wonderful class. Starting the 4th chapter with such a profound descriptions of transcendental knowledge. So nice. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. So dear devotees, please ask your questions or comments, reflections, concerns, comments, anything. Open up any questions you have, anything related to the transcendental topic. So you can ask. It's a forum that we all share each other. We all together. We understand that's the purpose of this Sangha. So we discuss the transcendental topic. Thank you so much. Please. Anybody has anything to add? Yeah, I think it's a beautiful chapter, and this was us in the purport. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that 120 million years ago, this transcendental knowledge imparted to the sun god was one. Yesterday, I happened to see a documentary. This documentary was mentioning about the ancient university of Takshashila and Nalanda. Takshashila was since like 2500 up to 500 AD, BC to 500 AD. And this was the biggest university. We can imagine that how much knowledge we had this before. And thousands of years it was there as the biggest university, and even students, pupils come from the different other countries. There was an entrance test, even to admit the student over there. And even all these various topics about the astrology and Ayurveda and various types of medicine, and they could see everything around this place is everything is have a herbal values and medicinal values. So such a knowledge, such a vast knowledge they all had. Even they were teaching the language of the birds. There was a specific subject for that. So then we can imagine that, yes, there was a great transcendental knowledge. Great transcendental knowledge was there, but it's all lost in time being. It was mentioning that when atom bomb was put on the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it was mentioned that like 1,000 times the sun set, that much darkness which was created there. This was mentioning when the Hunas came and attacked all this Takshashila and Nalanda. They mentioned that it was not 1,000, it was 10,000 suns set at a time. That much destroyed the knowledge. You had such a profound knowledge, everything about astronomy, everything about astrology, everything about medicine. And so it is so vast. Yes, that's very true. The due course of time it lost. And Madaji was very nicely putting that together. Yeah. Thank you so much, Madaji. Anybody else? Anything you'd like to share?
Haribo.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask a question about you were talking about forgetting and how we forget knowledge and things like that. So, what are some practices that we can do in our day-to-day life to remember more, to be more mindful, and not forget this knowledge, and just be present more?
So if you see this forgetfulness and if in remembering, everything comes from Krishna. Like if you see here in like between Krishna and Arjuna's conversation, Arjuna is saying that how I'm not remembering it. So Krishna is remembering everything, but definitely, yeah, to forget is our natural tendency. So if like Arjuna forgot that Krishna was, or like Krishna remembered everything, but Arjuna did not remember. So then Krishna is saying that this remembering and forgetfulness is coming from me. So in our practice, then definitely we'll also definitely we will have to forget we have to forget. Like we don't remember now yesterday what we did. Yesterday, if I suppose now we are maintaining some chart on what we're eating because of tracking our triglyceride levels. So we don't remember on Monday what we ate when we talk to the dietitian on a Sunday. So basically we're writing it down. So that way we're maintaining it a chart. Yeah, this is what I did. So that's how I am remembering. So in our basically this is a practice. So in our same way, in our daily life also, we should practice more and more on this devotional service. What is our devotional service? Like if we see in when Parikshit Maharaj case, Parikshit Maharaj is going to die in 7 days. So he could do so many last 7 days. If you see 7 days is given to you, a materialistic person, what he will do? He will go and try to first see, I have this many bank account, how to save money, and and I have this many houses are there here and there. Let me sell them some, or let me enjoy some material things, or let me go to some beach, or let me enjoy for some more time. He'll think that. But Parikshit Maharaj didn't do that. What he did, he listened from Srimad Bhagavatam for 7 days. So he constantly remembered. See, every day he was hearing, 24 hours and 7 days he was hearing from Sukadev Goswami, he was hearing. So similarly, in our case, if we constantly meditate and if we constantly read or if we constantly associate with the Vaishnavas, we will never forget about this beautiful transcendental knowledge. We have to listen to this periodically. We have to have association with the sadhus, with sadhu sanghas periodically. We should, without any fail, we should read it. Now, if we remember during our initiations always, Srila Prabhupada or our individual gurus always recommend us read at least one verse of Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam every day. So if we do like that, there is definitely slowly we can improve our standard, and as we discuss now, we will come to a perfect standard, so that in that way we will never forget. I hope I could explain your questions.
Yeah, that was really helpful. So we should constantly hear, constantly write it down, and constantly be with devotees in order to be more mindful.
Yes, and all those things are possible only if we follow the 4 regulative principles.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe other devotees, if you want to add anything, maybe they can add over here.
Can I add to this, Mataji, with your permission? Surabhi, what your mother said about remembering, no? And tips to remember. I have these little cards. I don't know if you can see. So in all these lectures, we listen to lectures, correct? And there is some point which may click.
Yes.
So Maharaj may say something, or like Mataji said something. So what she said is this. Actually, there is another question I have, and that we'll keep it separate. Perfect offering and perfect mercy, that reciprocation. So, it's a useful thing while sitting in lectures to keep these cards. At least that's what helps me. And I write it down. And then I refer to it. And when you go back, the other thing is, we read, we are attending the Sangha in the morning, then in the evening. And then you associate with devotees. But what about the time when you're in college? So if you just do a quick analysis of how much time you're spending in direct, I call it direct devotional activity, or with devotees, how much time? And then how much time is away from it? So you're in class, obviously you're not thinking of Bhagavad Gita verses. I hope you're not. You should concentrate on your study. So how much is that time? But I think, memory comes through reflection, and it is a conscious effort till such time it becomes reflexive. In the sense, if you are driving, look for things which can remind you of Krishna or his devotees. Just a regular act of driving. If you're going grocery shopping and you're picking up a fruit, think of how Krishna and his friends, they used to snatch the fruit from each other, like pastimes, whatever there is. Then once you make a conscious effort, then it becomes reflexive. And end of the day, what Mataji said is it's all coming through Krishna, memory, forgetfulness. So I would say two things. One is write down whenever in a pravachan, some point will strike you, because you can always go back and look at it and it will remind you, Mataji said this, Maharaj said that. And the other thing is to make a conscious effort. When we're driving, we are just looking at traffic. Of course, please be careful. Don't be daydreaming. That's not what I mean. But anything, taking a sip from your water fountain in college, and the taste of water.
Thank you so much for that, Amritananda Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji and Mataji. Very nice question, actually. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it was mentioned that Krishna boli সেই যে ভোগবাঞ্ছা করে অতএব মায়া তারে জাপটিয়া ধরে. Krishna boli, you forget everything, but never ever forget Krishna. If you forget Krishna, then Maya will capture it. If you do not forget Krishna, then Krishna it is a transcendental, a spiritual. So that is Mataji mentioned that she gave very nice example of Parishit Maharaj. At the end time, he forget whatever his wealth. He doesn't care about that things. He just take a care. He was listening Bhagavatam 7 days, 24 hours. 7 days. So main thing is that is we should forget everything, not forget Krishna. Krishna boli, again I am telling Krishna boli je sei je bhogovancha kore অতএব maya tare japatiya dare. We should not entangle in Maya. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for that really nice recollection. I wanted to just say that, Amritanand Prabhuji, what you said about referring back to the notes, I think I take a lot of notes during lecture, and I never refer back to them. So I have these notebooks upon notebooks of spiritual wisdom that it's like sitting there like a second Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm not even opening it up.
Yeah, I hear you, Surbi. I hear you, and that's the same problem I used to have. But there is a hack, so to say, for that.
Please enlighten me.
What I used to find is I've analyzed why is it I'm not going back to the notes. You get it? So what was happening is that a notebook is, whatever, that 8-inch by 11-inch. Correct? So it was kind of becoming bulky. And I prefer when I'm in class to be handwriting. The rest of the time, we are all accustomed to typing on the phone or on the keyboard. But especially when there is something in a class or, I like to write these notes. So then what I found is when it's in the notebook, to refer to it means you have to carry that thing and it's kind of bulky. I found it. So it became a little bit of, okay, I'll write it, I'll go back to it. And it's lying in one room.
Yes, exactly.
Correct? So what I started doing is I started taking these little, what do you call these? My children used to use this when they
Index
went
cards.
to index card. Of course, they passed out and I found out in the basement a whole stack of these are there. So I started picking these up. And, I keep here a stack and I keep writing. And when I'm going out or if I'm going to be out for an extended time, I just at random pick up a few and, look at it. Just not, how do you say, just to revise, not that really concentration, casually I'll say, but it stays in there. The other thing which may help, and I'm looking of doing that, you have now, this is all handwritten, but you could actually have a digital pad. They call it, there are two products, Remarkable and Rocket Book or Rocket Page. That Rocket Page is some $30 and the other one is some $300. That's expensive, but you could actually be writing it on a digital pad and it stores into the cloud.
Yes.
That becomes even more convenient because then on your telephone, which you have, your digital device, you could always go back to that thing. Like I had a phone which you could write also on it. It had that stylus,
Yeah.
but then the real estate of the phone screen is just, so much only. So that was a little difficult. So I'm thinking of buying that, and hopefully that may. But all I would suggest, Sundarachala Mataji, is that make a conscious effort. I think once we make a conscious effort, then things can, at least it has helped me.
Yeah. I think I should also maybe make a conscious effort, maybe once a week, to look back at my notes, because I'm just taking it in and I'm not. Yeah. Anuradha Mataji is saying that too. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah, you are in a very right path, Mataji, Sundarachal Mataji. You are giving Bhagavad Gita class, Bhagavatam class, and you are immersed in a very nice house. Your father, mother, everybody is highly elevated in Krishna consciousness. You should not forget, not try to forget Krishna. And you are not forgetting Krishna. I believe it. You are not forgetting Jagannath and Balaram and Subhadrama. So you are in the right track.
Thank you. It's only with your blessings. The way you were speaking about Lord Chaitanya and what he said, never forget Krishna, always remember Krishna, and repeating what Prabhupada says. It's all your blessing. So I will hope to continue and hope to grow.
You also bless me, Mataji. You also bless me.
No, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you for wonderful discussions and wonderful realizations, remembrance. Thank you all dear devotees for joining. Let's also thank Mataji for having a wonderful class. I would also humbly request, let's also discuss, we were actually planning to schedule a book distribution Sankirtan topic, 8 o'clock as a meeting. I would also humbly request all of you, you can stay back for maybe 30 minutes. So we'll also discuss and plan out something during this COVID, that how we can explore and improve our Sankirtan and book distribution. So as mentioned, that one of the way we can always be in contact and rapid progress in Krishna consciousness is that give this knowledge to others. Preaching is the key, and preaching is the essence. Srila Prabhupada said that utility is the principle, purity is the force. The purity is the force that carry forward everything, and utility is the principle. Preaching is the essence, and the one more thing.
Utility.
Books are the basis. Utility is the principle, and books are the basis. These are the 4 pillars. So if we keep these 4 pillars always with us, books, preaching, purity, and utility, then Srila Prabhupada's words are so powerful. There is no then drawback, faults, any decay in anything, any of our activities. So thank you so much. And thank you, Mataji. So we will conclude the Bhagavad Gita section. And then we would say also, Vancha Kalpatarupasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patidanam Pavanebhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo.
Namaha Vaishnavadaki Jai. And I would also request devotees to stay back for the Sankirtan meeting so that we can. So this is the way, like we say, 24 hours we can remember. And it's not that we just sit and chant. This is also, Sankirtan. This is also the devotional service. Srila Prabhupada very much emphasized on that. Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Premasarovar Mataji, for having a wonderful class. And then let's yes, Hare Krishna. So let's begin our section today, Sankirtan section. So let's pray together again, and thank you everybody for joining, and thank you for joining for the meeting. And let's pray our obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patidanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Jai. So let's start our Sankirtan meeting. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhudale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Dinamine Namaste Saraswata Deve Guruvani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Guru Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Hari Bol. So we have all the quorum. Murdanda Prabhu. We have, everybody is there. So very nice. So agenda of this meeting is that how we can organize our Sankirtan in a structured way. So that, see, there are so many things we have in terms of, it's not that just we go out and distribute books or we just go out and do the Sankirtan. It has a bigger picture that, we have to make sure that if somebody come and ask, do we have this book? So think about that. If somebody come and ask for a book, how much eagerly they are coming, first of all. They may be very much after a long time, they heard about that, ISKCON of Central New Jersey is a nice temple, big temple, this ISKCON temple in this entire New Jersey. And they may be waiting for a long time and coming for a book. They come and tell, okay, they have such a desire to have the book, longing for this book, and come and ask, Prabhuji, you have this book? No, Prabhuji, sorry, we don't have. That's a very pathetic situation. So that's one area I think we are lacking that because of, this COVID was there. We don't order on time and things like that. So Gauri Mataji's and Tarun Prabhu was very much, agreed and kindly coming forward to take that wonderful service. And we would really appreciate Gauri Mataji and Tarun Prabhu. Thank you so much, Mataji and Tarun Prabhu. Please carry forward that.
No, Prabhuji, please. I am learning so much. I'm so fortunate. I would say I'm so fortunate that I have, your Sangha as my Shiksha Guru, devotees, like all the devotees, actually, all the devotees where I'm learning. And it's my fortune, it's my good luck, it's my best life that I've been, getting some service to do. So, Prabhuji, I am very fortunate, I would say.
Thank you so much. And be focused. That's the one advice. Be focused on that. Make sure that we do have the list of, I think the plan is that we can create a Google group. I think did anybody started or anybody plan for that? A Google group or Google Doc, link the Google Doc, right? So we can have that list of, I think Puneet Prabhu, are you there? Yeah, Puneet Prabhu there.
Yes, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam or go to Srila Prabhupada. Jai. So one area that I think you sent it out, right? The inventory list.
Yes, I had sent the list of the books.
Yeah.
It's just that maybe I think Sundarupa Prabhu or you can, we have to get the prices on that list.
Okay.
And once we have the prices, that's a master list I want to maintain. And then tagging each book like you were pointing out with the gun or the machine we have, right?
Yeah.
Pricing machine. Use
Yeah.
that and start pricing the book. So tomorrow I will be in the temple, but I need to know the prices
Okay.
before anything.
Okay. So what I will do, I have a list of all the books, and probably I can send it to, or no, yeah, I think I can put it into a spreadsheet. What is our sell price? Sale price. The price what we may have is actually from the BBT, but that is just the base cost. But that is not our price. So yeah, let me find a time first of all.
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
what I was, you have actually shared a list on the chat channel.
Yeah.
It has all the list. So maybe Prabhuji, whatever you know to the best of your abilities, the books that you can mention their price, like we know Bhagavatam set in regional language in this set, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and other small books and a package. And you can also mention, Prabhuji, I know it is a time consuming process, but important books you can mention. And on the festival time, like you probably give some discount, right? On the festival time, you give a little $50 discount for. So maybe you can mention that time during the festival season if there is a discount. And paintings, big one, small one, you can mention there. And then when Puneet Prabhuji there or I am there on Saturday, we can start putting the labels also. I can help Puneet Prabhuji or anybody to put the labels, and we can also put this on the list. So that way we will be on the sync, Prabhuji.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's plan something. Yes, of course. Yeah. So that's the one thing first we have to do, and that we have to be time bound, like a smart goal, right?